Right, welcome to Rambling Achieved. We did something similar to this, me and Brandon, in the past, where it was a profile review, and we used True Achievements to scroll through my account, and then I believe we used PSN profiles to have a look at his stuff. And I remember watching some videos a few years back of people doing it through the actual console itself, and I just wanted to kind of do it that way. Um, do like a revisit because it's been would have been over a year by now, I believe, maybe a little bit longer. So obviously more stuff has happened since. And when you're going through it this way, it's a little bit easier with the screen being a little bit bigger because what I noticed when we were doing it through True Achievements and PSN profiles, obviously it's a website page. So a lot of it is kind of tucked away, whereas here it's easy to kind of navigate. The only thing is, obviously, I'm gonna have to navigate with a controller. So apologies if you're gonna hear I'll do it now as the sticks and stuff like that. I'll try and be as quiet as possible. But yeah, as you can see, here's my profile. On Xbox, I do game on the laptop as well, to a much lesser degree, and using the ROG Ally since the end of last year. Haven't done too much on it, but I do use it. But as you can see, you know, on the cusp of becoming 525,000G, which, if you're not familiar with Xbox's way of handling their achievement structure, for the most part, since the Xbox One generation, a base game is worth 1,000 gamer points. This was also the case in the 360, but you also had certain caveats in the 360 era where smaller games came with a 200 gamer score. So equivalates, if you're going to do it to like that degree, obviously that's 500% in air quotes worth of value and stuff like that. It's an account that's been, it says active for 13 years, as you can see at the bottom left there. That's what that 13 means. 13 years of, I believe, subbing. Because I don't think that's how old the account technically is. I believe that's like continuous online access with stuff like Xbox Live Gold back in the day. And then obviously it's transitioned and pivoted into Game Pass now. And then the Microsoft 50 was just a badge that they gave people as part of the 50th anniversary of Microsoft. And then that third one is the Ambassador program. So that was a community run thing, which I kind of participated in for a short amount of time, but didn't do as much in it. Because what that is basically, how would you describe it? Kind of like troubleshooting people's problems, but community based and stuff like that. And it's enjoyable, but it's a hell of a lot of work. But major respect to those who participated in the ambassador program and stuff like that. It was really cool. And that fourth one is Xbox Live Gold. It's kind of difficult to see the. I think that's 2023 is what that says. So that's when they completely scrapped Xbox Live Gold as a part of the subscription services, and then obviously it fully transitioned into the Game Pass tiers. And then the weekly set streaks. I think if we go to rewards, is what that was about, I believe. It was basically this, but I think it was achievements. So it didn't have, you obviously had to play anyway, but I think that was an achievement streak system that tied into the reward points, if I'm remembering correctly, and then they scrapped it in 2024. So those are little like badges and stuff. Nothing too crazy. I know some, for instance, Major Nelson and stuff like that have specialized badges to say that they were part of like this team and that team and launching of the 360 Connect and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. It's really cool that they can add developer badges like that. But yeah, get to the games and just give like a little rundown. Obviously, there's going to be 524,000 G. There's going to be a shitload of games to go through, so I won't be obviously dissecting all of them in painstaking detail. This is probably going to be, I imagine, a multi-part video, because even right now, with it clocking in at 5.5 minutes, I can already feel my voice giving out from constant talking. But yeah, as you can see, playing through Diablo 4 at the moment. They're running a event with Doom as a crossover, so that's why I'm in it. So yeah, okay. Before we begin, obviously, if I'm gonna click on these games and it will open up the achievement lists, which may contain spoilers. So just be warned of that. If you don't want to see that, try and skip ahead if I'm hovering over a game or about to talk extensively about a game that you haven't played. So yeah, Diablo 4, really fun. Me and a friend went through and did the DLC campaign, so we're waiting for that next DLC to drop. We did it in hardcore. Really fun. I'd like to 100% it. Gonna have to grind out these PvP kills and stuff like that, but yeah, it's not something that I've dedicated a ton of time to. I think, yeah, a day and 19 hours, like that's not really all that much time when you're thinking about like Diablo. Balatro is one that's been chipped away in the background. This is ridiculous how long this takes, because you have to essentially, how would you describe it? It's like a roguelike in a way of, you have like Isaac characters and stuff like that, but with Isaac you can skip lower difficulties for the post-it note unlocks, whereas in Balatro you have to gradually increase. You have to beat each deck with each difficulty. There's no stacking difficulty. You can't just go, okay, I'll beat it on the hardest. I'll beat it on gold stake straight away. You have to unlock getting to gold stake for all of them. And then what transpires after that is, where is it? There, and a gold sticker. So basically, when you beat a deck on gold stake difficulty, which is the hardest, it has all the hardest modifiers and stuff like that, it will, whatever jokers you had, which are like your passives, it will stamp a gold star basically on it. And there's a lot of jokers in this game. And you need to not only beat every deck on gold stake, you need to have a gold sticker on every joker in the game, and it is just so time consuming. I love it, of course, but it's just so time consuming. Football Manager 26, another one I'll be 100%ing. It's currently what I'm working on at the moment. Got a PSG save going, grinding out league victories, because it's very easy to win in the French league as PSG. Thankfully, they fixed it. Had a terrible, terrible launch, but they've seemingly switched it up and fixed stuff. So it's kind of what I expected as well. I think I've talked about it a bit in the Discord and briefly mentioned it on Brandon's channel when we did the end of the year like award phase thing, that it was my biggest disappointment of the year. But I had no doubt that they would come around and fix it, and that's exactly what they've done. TCG Card Shop Simulator, that released fairly recently, within the month, I believe. Just one of them vastly popular simulator genre games, but you're just running your own card shop. Very addictive. Very, very addictive. But much like Balatro, has a very grindy list, so it's going to take a while to 100% that, unfortunately. Halo Spartan Strike. This is being played on the ROG at the moment, and I believe this was originally a mobile game, and they end up porting it to Windows, or it had a a co-release with Windows. I'm not entirely sure, because I remember Spartan Assault is what I ended up playing, which was the 360 launch, and then they re-released it on the Xbox One. Didn't even know this game existed, but while I was scrolling through the PC storefront yesterday, ended up seeing it, and it was £2. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a punt. It didn't show that it had achievements, weirdly. When you look at it in the store, and then it still doesn't display it properly. So I'm kind of surprised it's displayed here. But it did give me a notification saying that I did earn the first gold star. But it has an in-game achievement page, so that's cool. Menace is a game that's in early access at the moment on PC, and it's on PC Game Pass. And this is from the creators of Battle Brothers, a really cool, which we're going to get to because I've played Battle Brothers on Xbox, a really cool spin on an XCOM-like thing. So it's a tactical RPG strategy game where you're going around with these units fighting aliens and stuff like that. And I didn't play long, I only played one campaign, I think is what they refer to it as, or one operation, sorry. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been long, 52 minutes. But really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed it. Want to play some more of it. Hoping that it gets a console port in the not so distant future. This is my worry, is that when we back out, is it going to put us back, or are we going to have to scroll? Right, so Blood. This is a very old game, I believe in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. One of the quote-unquote boomer shooters. Me and a friend began playing it through co-op, only to get through the entirety of the first episode. So I believe that's 6 or 7 levels maybe. And then the achievement didn't pop, and that was kind of very demoralizing, because I wouldn't say I'm addicted to achievements. I can play games and put them down just fine. It doesn't really bother me. But what I do value greatly through an achievement-based system is that it serves as a history as to what you've actually accomplished and played. And that's what I value the most, more so than, I love getting 100%, don't get me wrong. But the aspect of having blood there until forever, essentially. Obviously, one day they may shut down the servers, but for the time being, I'm able to look back at that and be like, yeah, I remember doing that, and I accomplished that much in the game. And that's what I really, really value in an achievement system. So that's why it kind of bummed me out that we did all of it. So I don't view it as a waste of time. Of course, we had fun and stuff like that, but it's there's no, we didn't capture that moment. That kind of sucks. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to pause a bit between these things. I'll probably do about 30 to 45 minutes per part. But if you hear a click, that's the mouse button clicking the pause on OBS, so I can have a drink, rest my voice for a minute or two, and then get back to it. So I'll be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. Would have been instant for you, but a few minutes for me. But let's continue. I think I finished up talking about Blood. Greedfall, The Dying World, new release. Technically Greedfall 2. Did about 4 or 5 hours in it, and sadly ran into a game-breaking bug, I guess, in air quotes. The game uses a toolbar system is the word I'm looking for. Much like a CRPG, and then I ended my save and then picked it back up. My entire toolbar was empty, and that's fine, because you can remap your attacks, but you can't remap your basic attack, and you need your basic attack to generate a resource to use your specials. So basically at the moment I could technically continue playing, but my main character could do nothing. So I'm gonna wait for them to finish fixing that, put out a patch or something, please, Christ. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, really fun survivor-like, set in the Deep Rock Galactic universe. Really cool spin where it's kept the mining aspect of Deep Rock Galactic, but transferred that to a survivors based game, and just, yeah, really, really fun. Played a hell of a lot of it, chipping away at the 100%. Won't be done anytime soon with that. Dolmen, I think. Oh boy, if you know, you know. People have memed Dolmen to the hills and back. If you're in the Souls community, I know this was a punching bag. I have such a soft spot. I think, like, when I've been asked, like, what's my favorite games and stuff like that and genres, I think I just have to be honest, and it probably is Souls-likes. Like, I love CRPGs and stuff like that, but, like, I wouldn't sit down and play a terribly playing CRPG. I wouldn't do it for any other genre but Souls-likes. There's just something about them. Because this is not a good playing game. It is not polished. It's not designed great. It's got really, really poor difficulty scaling. We co-opted this, me and a friend, and the co-op is terrible. Because you can't co-op through the level, you can only co-op the boss fights. And then the boss fights, to summon your co-op partner, have a finite resource that you have to farm. So, like, everything that this game could have stepped on a rake and slapped itself in the face, it did that. But I just have a soft spot for them. Just really love Souls-likes. Picked up Borderlands 4 on a deep, deep sale, and if you know me, you know that I do not like Randy Pitchford at all. So I'm sorry, people at Gearbox, but I don't buy the Borderlands games out of my own pocket. So I used a gift card from the rewards. So Microsoft technically purchased Borderlands 4 for me. So thank you, Phil, or no, it's Asher now, isn't it? Thank you, Asher, for purchasing Borderlands 4 for me with my reward points. But yeah, I didn't get very far into it. I was kind of shocked because I heard that, like, quite a lot of people enjoyed the game. I thought the intro was really bad, if I'm being honest. Because I'd heard that the villain was compelling and stuff like that, and it's like, I guess that's just how low the bar is for writing in Borderlands, because it really wasn't all that, if I'm being honest. Wasn't particularly impressed. Hard Reset Redux. This is a first-person shooter. It's kind of very reminiscent of, like, Serious Sam, but more linear, because Serious Sam has you usually going through a lot bigger spaces, whereas this is a cyberpunk FPS. You're going through like cityscapes and stuff like that, like high-rise buildings, and really fun. Had this lined up to, because we're running an event at the moment in March called Spring Cleaning, and that's just as long as the game is at least 10 years old from release and isn't a remake. Those are the only two real caveats. You can have remasters. Then try and get as many of them finished as possible. And I went really hard because this will be the third event that we've ran. We've ran Shocktober in October of last year, and then we did JRPG January, which I did less of. So Shocktober was the most participated. JRPG January I did a little bit less, and then this I've just completely dropped the ball. I think the only title I've done is the one below, which is Thief from 2014. But yeah, need to get back to Hard Reset Redux. Thief, I'm just gonna skip over this because I'm gonna save it for my end of month clear talk, and I'll give you a brief peek behind the window do not like that game at all. I think it's terrible. March of Empires. This is a... How would you describe it? You know them crappy like Facebook games where you're building up, or even mobile games, and you have like kingdoms that you're building up. You build the mine to build barracks to then have this massive map where you make your troops. It's that. It's that. I dived in for a little bit and was like, okay, because it was free. Didn't pay any money for it. Yeah, I'll be going back to it. Final Fantasy 13. This is the Windows version. Heavily recommend if you are on Xbox that have access to any form of PC or the ROG, which is what I'm playing it through. Definitely play this over the backwards compatible version, in my opinion, personally, because you have difficulty modes with this release, and that was kind of like my big stumping point with the original Final Fantasy 13 on Xbox 360. It just felt a little bit too tedious with the sponginess of especially the early areas and stuff like that, with having to build up that stagger bar gauge. You can't farm, and that's my big thing, is that I do like to get a little bit of meat on my characters when I'm playing JRPGs. So when you can't really farm in them early areas, and you're playing with a slightly obtuse combat mechanic system, which is the paradigm system that they use, can be a little bit frustrating. And I did end up locking myself out of feeling like I had any way of achieving. I just couldn't beat one of the bosses, essentially, is what it was, and ended up tapping out on the 360. Whereas with that Windows version, I believe I'm in the final 2 chapters, so made it much further, much easier, and much more enjoyable. Monster Train 2, really cool card battler, very unique, where you have your train that's traveling through these different locations, and you're building your deck, which are your monsters that you're putting onto the train to defend your pyre, which is your engine room. Really cool. 100% the first one, which we'll eventually stumble upon, and am in the process of going through Monster Train 2. It's just it's taking a lot longer than I expected, but I haven't played a good amount of it in the end of last year, but haven't played too much more of it, if I'm being honest. Resident Evil Requiem, that will also be a March clear that I enjoyed. We'll be talking about it at the end of the month, so I don't want to spoil it, but very damn good game. Predator Hunting Grounds. Can't remember the term as to what these are. Is this asymmetrical multiplayer? Kind of like Dead by Daylight, where you have the monster being controlled by a player and then the other team being controlled by a player, and you're kind of at odds trying to do different things and hinder each other. This was a much more delayed release because it released on PlayStation quite a few years back, I believe. And then it would have been within the past year, I think, maybe 2 years at most, being on Xbox. Me and a friend played it on a free-to-play weekend and enjoyed what we played of it, and then ended up grabbing it on a deep sale, and ended up booting it back up. Didn't play it. I had to hop off and go do something else, but I do plan on going back to that. It was really fun. Really fun. Starfield. There's been obviously chatter that there's going to be a Starfield 2.0. I think that's kind of been put to bed. But there is going to be some expansion news, I believe, is what is confirmed. It's just not going to be like an overhaul, because there were people running away with theories that it was going to be like a Cyberpunk 2.0 kind of thing. But what's kind of been unofficially confirmed is that it's just going to be more of the same. If you liked Starfield, it's going to be more Starfield. If you didn't, you're probably not going to enjoy what they're going to be putting out. But yeah, booted it back up just to play a little bit because it was after. We're going to scroll down a little bit in a sec, and it was after Everspace. I just had a little bit of like a sci-fi itch. So I decided to jump back into that and ended up downloading some mods. And I gotta say, there's some really talented modders out there for Bethesda's games. I know this isn't as well received as the likes of Fallout and Elder Scrolls, but there's definitely some people that resonate with this game, and there's some very creative people out there. And the mods were really cool. So, I mean, I'll get back to it at some point. I was enjoying it, but I still hold the sentiment that that base game is just really weak. Really, really weak. I think it's a great sandbox. I think it's a terrible RPG. Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. Really cool Souls like. Really, really cool Souls like. I really like Chinese mythology. It's something that's grown on me these past few years. Exposing myself to it and learning about it. I enjoyed Wolong, which was also set in the, I believe, Yellow Turban Rebellion is when that was for Wolong, and then Wu Chang is also Chinese mythology. You have Wukong that came out, which I need to get back to. But yeah, I just have a lot of. It's a really interesting country, very rich with history, but doesn't really get as much. Like, you have a lot of Muso games that tackle that time period with like Dynasty Warriors and stuff like that, but we're only just seeing more developers take a stab at it in like Souls-likes and other aspects like that. It's really cool. EA Sports WRC, really strange this, because this is Codemasters and they didn't do the WRC games. I can't remember who did. I think Nacon and Big Ben Interactive were the two, because they've changed their name to Nacon now. I don't know who the developer was. I don't know if it was an in-house thing. But yeah, EA Sports has obtained the WRC license, and Codemasters, who already do the Dirt series, made a WRC game, so kind of the same thing. And they're also doing, obviously, the F1 games as well. They seem to be really stretched. And I don't think this was particularly well received. I can't speak 100% with certainty for that, but I think a lot of people weren't all that thrilled that they got their hands on it. But played a little bit of it, wasn't completely wowed myself, but here we are. Moving on to the Outer Worlds Space's Choice Edition. This is obviously the re-release, I believe, the next gen. Maybe it might have been the next gen version. Yeah, really, really cool stepping stone for Obsidian, and like in hindsight, maybe a little bit lacking ambition, which is what you usually expect from Obsidian, because that is my recent critique of Obsidian. Like, I loved them for all their work previously. They've been bought up by Microsoft, and they've kind of been playing it very safe. They did the Outer Worlds 2, and then Avowed. I'm only going to be covering the RPGs that they're doing. And they're really safe. And it's unfortunate because I like them for when they're incredibly ambitious, because nobody did what they did. You know, you had the stuff like Alpha Protocol. Like, they had the balls to try and tackle a full-fledged spy game, turning it into an RPG, blending in Mass Effect elements and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, the game kind of was rough, but there's nothing else like it. There is nothing else on the market like it. Whereas when you pull back the skin of the layer of, okay, that's the Outer Worlds, these are the factions, and then you pull back the skin of Avowed of, okay, that's fantasy and these are the factions. It's very, very similar. Really similar in design. The only thing the Outer Worlds, not the Outer Worlds, the only thing Avowed has that edges it is like really strong melee combat. And that's about it. Like, yeah. I want them to go back to being a little bit more ambitious. Death Howl, I don't know what the hell this game is. I booted it up. I tried playing it. I didn't understand anything that was going on. I think it's either in early access or has come out of early access and had a terrible tutorial or no tutorial at all because I didn't understand what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. So how long did I put into this? How long did I give it? 30 minutes. Yep, that sounds about right. 30 minutes of stumbling around, having no clue what on earth was going on. So moving on. Everspace. I believe I spoke about this in the clears of last month. Had a light history with the game, as I spoke in the last month's video, with it being one of the final games Total Biscuit reviewed and stuff like that. So I remember him speaking fondly about it, and it's just one of them things where it's kind of just stuck in my brain. And I never beat it back then, didn't really give it a fair shot, and went back and beat it recently and just loved it. I loved it. It has its own problems, but loved it for what it was. Alright, Crystal Defenders. Don't think many people even know this exists. This is a Final Fantasy tower defense game. Really unique, really fun, really addictive, really challenging. I've been trying to 100% this since 2022 when I discovered that it existed, and I just can't do it. I can't. Where's the one that I need? Love it. This. Clear a map without deploying a thief or losing a single crystal. It's just so challenging. So unbelievably challenging. But yeah, really fun. Really, really fun. Absolutely love it. Demon X Machina, Titanic Scion. This is a marvelous. It's not only a marvelous game. It's published or developed by Marvelous. Kind of. How would you explain this? Third-person action adventure RPG kind of thing. It's got like a seasoning of Armored Core on it because you have like a mech that you're piloting. Very quick, high octane combat. A little bit stiff, but I enjoyed my time with it. I do want to get back to it. Really, really fun. And scratches all the right itches. Oh boy, I forgot I played this. So, slight bit of context. Huge fan of Test Drive Unlimited. The second one in particular, I didn't play all that much of the first. It's a little bit before my time of truly sinking my teeth into gaming. I was so excited and looking forward to Test Drive returning. And, you know, seeing what Forza Horizon had accomplished, because Forza Horizon had looked over at what Test Drive Unlimited had accomplished in its open world racing aspect and had just cranked up the fun to 11. Whereas Test Drive Unlimited was heavily focused more on trying to be very grounded and realistic. This game is just dreadful. I remember messaging a friend while playing it and I was genuinely offended that this even exists. Like, nothing about this game has soul. And it's really unfortunate. It just, strange design, terrible feeling, driving, just lacked any soul. That's the only way I could describe it. It's just soulless, and it's just really, really unfortunate. I believe it's forced online as well, which pissed people off at launch, and rightly so. Why is this game an online only thing? Who knows? I have no idea. I don't know why you would opt for that as a smaller publisher, being Nacon. Um, this is the thing. Like I enjoyed Nacon a few years back, but ever since they like things came out about how they treated the sinking city, I've just been very cautious with their stuff. And this was picked up on a very, very, very deep side. I didn't buy this day one. There's no way they were getting my money. And I was just like, okay, I think it was like £6 when I decided to finally pick it up. I was like, I'll take a stab at it. It can't be that bad, surely. Don't waste your time. Beneath, a first person horror FPS, tries to, it's Cthulhu based kind of thing, where it's flirting with that. It almost feels like they wanted to make fear, but they couldn't in many aspects. It's not a very good game. I didn't enjoy it. I did like the opening hour and found it incredibly frustrating, more so than enjoyable, so I will not be returning to that game. Let me just pause this. Alright, had to cough there. Dragon Quest. So this is an IP that obviously was not like rooted in Xbox at all. I believe, I think Dragon Quest 11 would have been the first Xbox release for the series. So I didn't grow up playing this as an IP, didn't have any connection with it. So very, very much behind everybody else. And I know this is kind of comfort food for people because I think I've been a bit harsh on it in the past when I've given my opinion on it and talking to friends who have like suggested it. Hearing, this is the kind of damage, is that when you hear of something being so iconic, you usually let your expectations run a little bit wild because you hear just how important it is to some people when they were growing up with it, how much they adore it, how much they love it. So I thought this was like one of the greatest RPGs ever, and to some people, of course, it will be. But like when I booted it up with Dragon Quest XI, I dived into the HD 2D games, and then even this, I had to reevaluate, the game to a certain degree and accept it for what it was, because I'm expecting like a lot more depth, and there isn't. This is just a very cozy, light RPG affair, like a very, very easy pick up and put down kind of thing, which hadn't been built up in my head as such. So I'd kind of, I ruined it myself. I'll put my hands up. It's my own expectations that should have been kept in check. But yeah, I've been enjoying somewhat. Like I don't think I'm ever gonna be considering myself a fan of Dragon Quest. I'll be a casual enjoyer, maybe, is where I will throw my take on that, because yeah, I don't love Dragon Quest 7. I think it's alright, if that makes sense. But I will beat it. I enjoyed it enough for that. This is a wild game. Date everything. Wow. Just a really bizarre game. I don't know who the developer is, unfortunately. I remember Panda Grog in the Discord. Shout out to you. Playing this a ton last year. I believe he played it a good amount throughout the entirety of the year. And I remember being intrigued because I remember seeing it before seeing that he was playing it, and being interested in what on earth that it was. And yeah, it's just a really bizarre game. You basically have these glasses that allow you to converse with everything in your house. So every mundane object can be kind of like brought to life. And then you're talking with it, and you can then befriend it, or you can make it an enemy, I guess, like hate it, or you can try and romance it. And it's just a very, one of a kind game. I don't think there's anything else, at least on console, like it. Maybe this is a massive genre type on PC. But yeah, just wild. Like just talking to a toilet, and then it turns into somebody's like cameo persona kind of thing. And it's just nothing else like it. We'll get back to it. I did enjoy it for what it was, but it's wild. Plants vs Zombies replanted, so they remastered Plants vs Zombies. Big fan of Plants vs Zombies. I think I almost beat it on the 360, doing all the stages, but didn't. So I probably will chip away at this over time, but didn't do too much with this re-release. Boy, oh boy, Crusader Kings 3. This is such a miracle that they got this running on console, because it's not just... They had to build the game from scratch, essentially. And this is... I don't know how long have I had it? 10 days, 22 hours. Like, I've put so much time into this. And I love it. I love this game so damn much. I'm even looking now to see if they've added the DLC. Nah, it's still the Legends of the Dead stuff. I cannot wait until they add there's a China expansion. Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait. Easily one of my favorite games of the Series X's generation. Really, really fun. I'm so glad that Xbox has such deep roots into strategy-based titles as well, because they do tend to get a lot more RTSs, excuse me, over on their consoles, which is great. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So, for some reason, Capcom like to re-release Dead Rising 1 for some reason. Because obviously it was a 360 exclusive, and then they put it out again. I don't know when it was, because I think it was fairly recently, in all things considered. They did a remaster of 1 and 2. Case West as well. There was something else bundled in it. And then out of nowhere, they decided to just do like a... Because this is more of a remake than a remaster, really, because they've made it play in the RE engine, and they've changed the voice actor yet again. And I remember pointing that out and being like, oh, it genuinely just... I couldn't stop thinking it the whole time. But it just looks like they've cast Bill Murray to play Frank West. And it was quite funny. But yeah, a big improvement. It plays a lot better. I haven't played too much of it. Boot up Tropico 6. Slowly working my way through the Tropico games, but again, haven't really done much on it, so not much to talk about there. Crown Wars: The Black Prince. This is a tactical RPG. So on a grid, I believe it covers the 100 Years' War, maybe, during that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, just another TRPG. Call of Warriors Gunslinger. I can kind of go through this and Mafia the Old Country quickly, because I've already talked about them on the monthly clears, so I won't be repeating it, but loved Gunslinger. Felt that the Old Country was okay, and we'll move on. Forza Horizon 4 was playing this with somebody from the Discord. Shout out Captain Corndog. We booted this up and was pissing around in it for a few hours. I know he's just recently reacquired an Xbox, so he's catching up on stuff like Horizon 4 and many other IPs that he's missed out on. And yeah, you just really, really forget just how unbelievably good Playground Games has like mastered this formula. Because you think of The Crew, Need for Speed, Gran Turismo, the standard Forza, like there's no other racing game that captures this level of casualness mixed with enjoyment and just balancing all of it. Because you can treat this like a normal racing game, you can treat it like a social space. Like there's so much, you build stuff in it and stuff like that, like the tracks, and just they always get crazy with the DLCs, like Hot Wheels and stuff like that. It's a jack of all trades, and usually the caveat with a jack of all trades is that it's a master of none. But with the Horizon series, it's a jack of all trades and a master of all. Like it's just phenomenal what they end up doing. I'll also skip over Lone Shark because I spoke about that. Cool little short game if you want to check that out. Code Vein 2. Really, really enjoyed my time with it. Haven't begun it. The open world was beginning to chug a little bit more after my first impressions video, so what I've just decided to do is wait a little bit. I think they've deployed a stability patch fairly recently, so maybe it is time to maybe jump back in and give that a go and have a look. But this is a huge step forward for Bandai, and the IP. Huge step forward, like a massive, ambitious step forward, because the original Code Vein, I loved it. It was very vanilla in a lot of its stuff, whereas this is trying its damnedest to try and mimic Elden Ring in any way possible, and it does. It gets within, 3 arms length worth of distance. It's definitely a few pegs behind it, but it's a huge step forward compared to the first. Anno 117 Pax Romana. So this was a free weekend. Dove into it. Don't really have much experience with the Anno games, but I did enjoy this, so I do want to go back to it at some point. Octopath Traveler 0. It's so unfortunate because it's so many titles here that it looks like I don't finish games, and it's just that's probably true. I start more than I finish, but I do plan on going back to it. I really liked my time with it, and I love the art style that the apologies, I'm blanking on who handles the development of these games, but the art style of Octopath Traveler, of Triangle Strategy, like them types of HD 2D pixelated graphics, I really do enjoy it. It's one of my favorite art styles. Yeah, shout out to Captain Corn again. We hopped into some Halo 5. I was showing him. They did a firefight. God, what was it called? Warzone firefight, and then there was something else that I was showing, and then we did some just standard multiplayer, like team-based TDM. Yeah, Halo 5 doesn't get enough love and credit. People really, really shunned that game when probably shouldn't have. You should have probably given it a little bit more of a fair shot, because there is so much content in that game that is worth experiencing. Yeah, the campaign's not like 10 out of 10, but the multiplayer side of it was really, really well fleshed out. So Drop Duchy, spoke about that in January. It's kind of like a Tetris style roguelite. Very weird, very unique. Remake Intergrade finally released on Xbox after, like, what was it, 7 years or something crazy. Happy to finally have gotten it. Had to put a pause on it. and do plan on going back to. I need to finish this before Rebirth because I know Rebirth is like fucking 20 million times the size of this damn game. But I was trying to do everything. I won't lie, I was doing all the side quests that I could do, taking my time to read all the notes and just try. Yeah, and let's have a quick look. How long have I played? So 14 hours. I don't know how long the game runs, but I feel like I was getting. It felt like. I know I'm at least over halfway through the game. I know that for certain. So hopefully I can get it done. I can't remember when it releases. June, I think. Rebirth. June or July, maybe. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Just an excellent strategy, party-based management game. Kingdom Manager as well at times when you get big enough. It still baffles me to this day that you can command an army of like 400 troops, take that to the field because you move around the map freely, bump into another army, initiate a battle, and then have like a 400 versus 400, like fully fledged. You're able to control your cavalry, your infantry, your ranged units all in real time, while also controlling a character that is yourself on the battlefield. It just baffles me that they were able to. Just wows me because it kind of reminds me of like Muso games and how, yeah, it's a little bit novelty based, but it doesn't do it perfectly executed, whereas this does. And it recently came out with a DLC where they added ship combat, and oh my god, it's so good. So damn good. Vampire Hunters, a first person roguelite FPS, like a survivors game as well. Didn't play much of it, didn't think much of it. Digimon Story Time Stranger. A lot of people were hyping this up. I have no affiliation. Affiliation? Is that the right word? No attachment to the Digimon franchise at all. Like I couldn't name you anything. Like at least with like Pokemon, it's so big. Even with me never playing a Pokemon, you know who Pikachu is. I couldn't name a single monster from Digimon. I don't know what they do. Don't know anything about the world. I heard people raving about this game last year, and I guess that's kind of in a similar vein to what I was talking about with like letting your expectations run wild, and then also with the Borderlands thing of saying, oh, so that's how low the barrier of entry is. I think Digimon fans have just had the short end of the stick so many times that even getting something of this quality on the board, it means the world to them, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them 100%. Like, this isn't a terrible game, but I was hearing this being compared to Persona and stuff like that. And yeah, it definitely draws inspiration, but I draws inspiration is about the beginning and the end of that. There's no way in hell anywhere on the level of quality. But it was enjoyable. Played a little bit of it. Probably get back to it at some point. But yeah, strange game. Strange game. Right. I just come back from pausing and realize it's 54 minutes. Holy shit. So I guess we're going to be doing these in hour long segments. Because once I start talking, apparently I can't stop talking. And I didn't know how I was going to set this up. So I guess I'm going to be just going over each game I've played briefly and then some in more detail. Because I don't mind doing a bunch of these. It's fun to just dissect. Also, just give like a rundown of my feelings and thoughts of every game I've played, I guess. So moving on to Like a Dragon Ishim. I think this was the final Yakuza game that I hadn't beaten until they've obviously put out Kiwami 3, and then they re-released Zero, Kiwami 1, and Kiwami 2. But Kiwami Free is obviously a brand new thing that they've attempted exploring. But before that, this was the only one that was left that I haven't beaten that's available on Xbox. Should also caveat that because they don't have Yakuza Dead Souls on Xbox. I hope we get a re-release of that. Even hearing how terrible it plays, I would like to experience it myself. But yeah, Like a Dragonician, spoke about it in my clear month, whenever that was, January, I believe. So it would have been one of the JRPG January clears. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Really fun. I could have been better. It definitely still shows its age, but yeah, really fun. Talisman. This is a very old board game from Games Workshop that is. I don't think many people know this exists, and it's really cool that they. This is the second outing on Xbox. They did Talisman before, and it was kind of really rough, and they've released this digital 5th edition, and they've polished up the game immensely to the point where me and a friend was actually able to finish a game. We never was able to finish a Talisman game before this because you'd either run into a bug, freezing, or the games were just too long. And thankfully, they've added modifiers and things that you can, tinker with and stuff like that. And it's just so much more of a smooth experience. So really, really appreciate that. Nine Kings, very, very addictive game, 100%. Don't know for how much longer. They're still updating it. It's in early access, but yeah. Another one that is in one of the clear months. So if you want a more in-depth breakdown of my thoughts, it'll be there. Inazuma 11, Victory Road. I want to get back to this. I do want to get back to this. I was jumping around a lot with the JRPG Januaries, trying to figure out what I wanted to play, and ended up picking this up and then putting it down. I do want to get back to this. It was really fun. It's a turn-based RPG that's based around football. It's a really unique premise where you're at school. I didn't get too far in it, but I know that there's multiple different game modes. There's like multiplayer and stuff like that. But yeah, really cool. Really enjoyed it. Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. This is the spiritual successor to Suikoden. Wears that on its sleeve proudly and rightfully so. Didn't play too much of it, but very much enjoyed it. So I do want to get back to it. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Again, this has been finished, so it's been talked about in January's clears. A high quality spin off, when compared to the main lines in the game, definitely takes a few punches to the head there, down in the rankings. Gimmicky, but I don't ever want to play a game in the series like that again. Like, I may go back one day and 100% this instance of it, but I wouldn't want to see. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy Bajima's combat style in the game. So, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Basically just Far Cry, but Avatar. Very, very beautiful game. Would like to. There's three. Is there 3 or 4 films now? There's 3 films in Avatar. I've only watched the first one. I'd like to watch the other ones. It's an enjoyable series. Just very long, the films. Ironically, I believe so is the game. But I enjoyed what I played of it. Need to get back to it. Will that be a priority of any time soon? Probably not, if I'm being honest. FM26. This is the PC version. As you can see, progressed a lot less. I think technically I've played more on the PC version, but haven't done as much. Trying to dig from the depths of my memory what would have been my last save. I believe it was an unemployed like journeyman. I think I ended up in Germany by the end. Oh, that was it. I was in the Netherlands as one of the clubs that were like fairly well known, and then they got relegated. Vitesse, I think it might have been, and they, yeah, I ended up getting them promoted and then jumping to Germany, and then I remember distinctly laughing because I was looking around at job applications, and there was ones in the English league, and Manchester United. So this would have been probably about 9 or 10 seasons into the save, and for some reason Manchester United was in League One, and that just made me laugh so much. I remember that. It was hilarious. But yeah, we'll end this here. I'll probably do another one back to back. I enjoyed this, so yeah, you'll. It's obviously going to be a completely different video for you, but I'm just going to continue doing this. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. If you want to join a like-minded community of gamers such as yourself, make sure to pop a comment down below, and I'll hit you back with a link to the Discord, where you can jump in and chat with us all. Also, if you've somehow stumbled upon this channel before Brandon's, make sure to check out the description of this video and any video that's on the channel, where his channel will be linked. He does awesome solo stuff, and we collaborate on a fairly consistent basis. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you enjoy this like little series that it's going to be until it's completed. Because I enjoy these types of videos. I've watched quite a few of them. I haven't watched any recently, but it's just interesting to see not only people's faults, but like sometimes you can just, while they're scrolling through the list, they've found something that you don't know, and you can look at the cover and be like, oh, that's interesting. Or when they're giving their thoughts and opinions on something, you think, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to give that a look. So hopefully, if anything, you'll find something here that sounds interesting and you end up giving it a look. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you next one.